ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Louie? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Monday Night Football overtime. Eagles, Packers. That was a fun football game. So we started the week with a 10-7 game. We ended the week with a 10-7 game. But these two 10-7 games felt vastly different at the opposite ends of the spectrum. This was a hell of a football game between two playoff teams that have a chance to be there when it's all said and done at the end in the NFC. Eagles get the win 10-7 in a hard-fought defensive struggle. This, unlike the game on Thursday night between the Broncos and Raiders that was 10-7, which featured a lot of missed opportunities and bad offense, this featured some really good defense. And I told you guys I thought it would be low scoring. I did not think it would be 10-7, though. You know what I mean? I said low 20s. I told my wife I wouldn't be shocked if this thing doesn't make it to the 20s and it was like 17-13 or something like that. But never in my wildest dreams did I think, neither team would cross the 10-point threshold, right? So didn't see that coming, but I did know that this game was going to be a defensive game. I did not expect a shootout. I did not expect explosiveness from either team in this game, for that matter. But I did expect some points to be scored, not 10-7. But ultimately, the better team won the game. Let's start there with the Philadelphia Eagles. They were the better team in this football game. Now, the Packers had their opportunities. They had their chances. The Jordan Love fumble early in the game. And unlike the Jalen Hurts fumble, which was forced, the Jordan Love fumble wasn't forced. He was trying to do too much, and he lost, the football. Whereas the Hurts fumble, he's, making a play. He's going down. He's done nothing wrong. And then the Packers defender just makes a hell of a play to punch the football out. Like, that's a guy going and hunting the football. So just too many mistakes on the part of the Green Bay Packers. If you're going to win this game, the Josh Jacobs, screen where he's leaking out, and it's a perfect call for the defense that's coming. And he just looks over the wrong shoulder. Like Troitman said, I don't understand why he did that. That football is never going to be thrown to the inside. That's a pass that goes towards the boundary. Why are you turning inside? So just little things like that. That's the difference between winning a game and losing the game. And I talked about Howie Roseman on that bye week, how he reshaped this defense. And they went out, they traded for a couple of corners. I don't think we saw the corners tonight, but we probably will at some point. Michael Carter and I forget the other one that they traded for, or Jair Alexander. We'll see those guys at some point. But Jalen Phillips was a beast tonight, and he's going to help this defense tremendously. And this is why you got to respect. If you don't love Howie Roseman, you damn sure got to respect him, because he doesn't sit on his hands. He's got resources. He's got assets, and he knows how to use them. He knows how to acquire them. He knows when to use them. And Jalen Phillips is going to be a third-round pick well spent as long as he stays healthy. He's a problem. You saw it tonight, and that really bolsters this defense that I think is an average defense at best. But now with the addition of Jalen Phillips, you get the Georgia edge rusher back. You add Brandon Graham back into the mix. You get Nakobe Dean back at middle linebacker. And then you add in those two corners that will eventually come into play in Michael Carter and Jair Alexander. And you got a chance for this defense to all of a sudden be reshaped, remolded, and look like a much better unit than they were earlier in the season. They're going to see better offense. I'm not impressed by Green Bay's offense. I only thought Green Bay could win this game off the strength of their defense. I'm not impressed with Green Bay's offense. And they were down quite a few of their guys, and this was the first game without Tucker Kraft. But Green Bay's offense is hit or miss. They've lost 3 games this season now because their offense was incapable of scoring points. Their 3 losses, their defense didn't give up more than 16 points in any of those games, right? Last week, they gave up 16 to Carolina in the loss. They lost to Cleveland in a game 13-10. And tonight, they lose 10-7. So this is not a defensive issue with Green Bay. They don't lose games based off of their defense. They lose games because their offense is incapable of putting up points and being consistent. And that's what I thought could happen if they didn't win. This was never going to be an issue of their defense. They were going to lose this game if they lost tonight because of their offense. And that is exactly what happened tonight. Let's start with the Eagles, however. And there's not really much to say on offense. Like they didn't do much on offense. They got into third downs tonight. They were very conservative, especially when it was 3rd and 9 or longer. A couple of times they were like draw handoffs by Kevin Patullo. And so they weren't super aggressive. They did take their one shot, right? Well, 2. The one late in the game on that 4th down, which they've been really special in those moments down, in the past. But that to me was a boneheaded decision. You got 1 or 2 options there. Both of them require a kick to be had. Either you're kicking a field goal with your kicker, Jake Elliott, who maybe you don't necessarily trust in that situation, which is fine. Then punt the ball. They need a field goal. They have no timeouts, and there's less than 30 seconds to go. The only way they can get in the field goal range is if you give them the football right where you are, which is what you ultimately did. And you're lucky that Green Bay went greedy. And really, not that they went greedy, that Jordan Love missed. And like Aikman said, if he throws him towards the sidelines, he's going to run away from the safety. He's going to run away from the defender there. And I think it was Cooper DeJean, I believe. He's going to run away from him, and he's going to go track that football. And now you're down there, and they're going to run down, they're going to spike it, and you got a chance to send this game to overtime. Instead, he missed, he throws that football in the middle of the field, which allowed, and that was the second time Love had done that in the game, where he allowed the safety and the defender to get back into the play instead of throwing the football to throw the receiver away from the defender. It could have changed everything. And so I've always said Nick Sirianni, to me, isn't a good coach. He's just a coach in a very fortunate situation. It's hard to mess up what he's got going in Philadelphia. It's hard to mess this up. And so his players bail him out a lot of the time because he's made decisions like this before. This is the first time he's done some really questionable shit before. He's done this before, but usually it works out. So nobody questions him, or if they do question him, it's, half-hearted because, okay, the shit worked. But it didn't work tonight. It could have backfired. It didn't. So he's going to get away with it again. But ultimately, Saquon had a rough night. Well, I shouldn't say rough. It was a solid night, and he had some runs called back due to penalty. His night would have looked a lot different if not for a couple of penalties that negated some nice runs. One of them, I think, might have been 20. Another one might have been 12 or 13 that were called back due to penalty. And that changes the way his entire night looks because, he had a solid night. There were a couple of tackles for loss. This is a really good Packers defensive front. Devontae Wyatt had like a 4-yard tackle for loss. Those linebackers are flying, man. So it was a solid night for Saquon. Again, A.J. Brown, 2 early catches in the game. They never went back to him until that last play of the game. That was incomplete. So another quiet game for A.J. Brown. I said this on the skill game earlier. One of these 2 receivers is going to get off, not both. And it was Devontae. I said I didn't know which one. I picked A.J. It ended up being Devontae. He had the big touchdown catch. He had the big 3rd down catch that ran a little bit more clock off of the game clock late with that 3rd down catch. So he was the guy that stepped up at the receiver position. You weren't going to get both, right? With the way this offense is configured and with the way defense is played by Green Bay, you're not going to get both of these guys to get their shit off. You got to pick one, and that guy was Devontae tonight. Goddard, did a little something early. He was non-existent late. But ultimately, Lane Johnson, good to see him come back. You hate to see him leave the game, but good to see him come back in towards the end of the game. Hopefully he's good to go. Short week. Quick turnaround, Sunday Night Football, Lions. They're going to need him. You got Aiden Hutchinson coming to town. You're going to need your best out there. So hopefully Lane Johnson is able to play on Sunday. But ultimately, I didn't think the Packers were going to get the ball back. This was a classic Eagles situation set up for them once the Packers scored the touchdown, I think with a little over 5 minutes to go. In my mind, I'm like, oh, shit. This is about to be a 5 minute and I think it was 32 seconds left. This is going to be a 5 minute and 32 second drive, right? This is what they're going to do, right? They're going to get like 3 first downs, the last of which is going to be like a tush push or something like that. And the Packers are going to have to start calling timeouts. They're going to get 1 more first down, and they're going to win this game taking knees. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen. But this Packers defense stepped up. They got the final stop that they needed. And I can't say enough about this Eagles defense tonight. They rushed 4 primarily throughout the night. They really didn't blitz. They got pressure. They made Jordan Love uncomfortable in this game with just 4 for the most part tonight. Deflected passes at the line of scrimmage. Early on, it was Carter who got his hands on the football multiple times to foil some drives. This was a very prolific Packers offense on third downs. They started out this game 0 of 5 on third downs. Credit this, Eagles defense. Got a big 4th down stop there. That was more of a drop by Bo Melton, but still Reed Blankenship there to hit him upon trying to double catch it. This defense did a really good job of just making Jordan Love feel pressure, never feel comfortable in the pocket. Those feet were happy tonight. They were bouncing around. He was antsy. He was inaccurate because he could never just stand tall in that pocket and feel good about the protection in front of him. And again, they did a lot of this with just 4. The coverage behind that was pretty solid throughout the night. Some really good sticky coverage. Guys just being where they needed to be, making Jordan Love not feel comfortable cutting it loose in rhythm and timing of the play. And so a lot of credit is given to this. You give up 7 points in an NFL game, I don't give a shit who it's against. You give up 7 points on the road. That's a special performance by your defense. In today's NFL, where the game is set up for offenses to thrive, and this is no mincemeat Packers offense, although, without Tucker Kraft and, with them losing Romeo Doubs and not having their first-round pick rookie, Golden, they were compromised offensively, but this is still a really extraordinary performance defensively by really both defenses, but specifically Philadelphia to hold a team to single digits in today's NFL. And again, on the road against a high quality, this isn't Denver holding the Raiders to 7 points. This is the first place team in the NFC North at the time being held to 7 points. And I just didn't see that coming when this game got underway. I just didn't see that happening. So shout out to this Eagles defense for playing the way that they played tonight. That was exceptional football on their part. And I don't know if I see the Eagles doing this like against better offenses. Like, I don't think they can hold. I know they can't hold Detroit to 7 points, right? I know they can't hold the Rams to 7 points. Like, this defense, while it's better than it was when they saw the Rams earlier, like, this Green Bay Packers offense is, and as shown throughout the course of the season, that they're a flawed offense that is inconsistent. It's why they lost 3 games now. This is the 3rd game they've lost when they've given up 16 points or less. That's supposed to be a damn near automatic win in this league if you give up 16 points or less. With a solid offense, not a great offense, a solid offense should be able to win you a football game when you've given up 16 or less points. They gave up 10 tonight, 13 against Cleveland, 16 last week against Carolina, and they lost all 3 of those games. So again, this is not a defensive problem for them. This is an offensive issue. But once again, a really good performance by this Eagles defense. Some questionable coaching. I did not like the 3rd down call to just run it again with Saquon. I thought you needed to get Jalen Hurts involved in the run game at that point, some sort of zone read where he's got the option to keep it, make them make a decision, put somebody in conflict. If they crash down on Saquon, he pulls it out and runs and see what you can get, right? Like something, or spread them out, run that quarterback draw you ran earlier in the game, something that was not going to be as easy to defend as just handing it to Saquon, because he just wasn't having that type of success against this Packers defense in front seven. So I didn't love the play calling down the stretch. I did not love the fourth down decision to throw the football there. You needed to either punt that football or you needed to kick the field goal. I probably would have just punted, just knowing how this game had gone, knowing how far they would have to go with no timeouts. I just would have put them in a position where you got to go and get about 60 yards to get in the field goal range, and you got to do it with no timeouts and less than 30 seconds. Good luck with that, right? We saw how far they, how much time they ate up on just that one completion that got them, into Eagles territory where they attempted the final field goal. So I personally would not have went for it on fourth down. And I thought that was a poor decision. And you gave Green Bay an opportunity. So you were able to dodge a bullet with that. But no one's ever confused Nick Sirianni with being a top shelf NFL head coach. So he just further, hammered home that narrative tonight, that he's an average NFL coach with an elite roster and an elite GM. And that's what makes him a Super Bowl winning head coach. So let's get to the Green Bay Packers in this game. That defense is so good. Jeff Hafley, I knew they were going to really be able to stifle that's why I thought they would win the game, honestly, because I knew their defense would be able to shut down this basic, Eagles offensive attack, right? Saquon just hasn't really been able to get it going this year. They don't throw it very well. And you just knew they weren't going to score a bunch of points. I expected Green Bay's offense to be able to fare a lot better against Philadelphia's defense than they did tonight, which they didn't. But this defense, that Packers defense is so fast. And that's the thing that just pops every time you watch them, is they're fast at every level. The corners are aggressive, Carrington Ballantyne, and Keyshawn Nixon, they're jumping everything. I thought the Eagles would try them on a double move at some point because of how aggressive they were playing on the outsides. They were trying to take something. They were trying to take something back the other way. And at some point, I'm like, okay, they got a double move coming up, a stop and go, a sluggo, something is coming their way that's going to try and test them. And maybe they did, and the pocket wasn't there, or maybe they did, and Hurts just didn't feel comfortable with it, or they just never did. But I thought at some point that aggressiveness is going to get them got in this game. But they were jumping everything on the outsides. The front is so aggressive up front with Michael Parsons and Rashawn Gary, and Devontae Wyatt is, I think, underrated. He's so good inside. And then those linebackers, man, they might be the pair of fastest linebackers in the league combined, with Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper. I don't know if you can find a faster, more athletic and dynamic pair of inside linebackers in the NFL than those two. They were all over the field tonight. And those safeties are underrated for Green Bay. They fly around. Williams did give up the touchdown tonight, and he was in position to make a play on that football, but he couldn't do it. That's a great catch by Devontae to go up and get it. But that's just a really well-coached and dynamic defense. And they gave their team a chance tonight. 10 points, again, you're not going to lose many games in the NFL giving up 10 points. You're just not. But again, this defense has been, with the exception of the Dallas game, this defense has been spectacular pretty much all year long. There haven't been many games. Maybe they were a little bit lackluster against Arizona, but for the most part, you're just not going to find a defense that's been, more stout this season consistently than Green Bay's. And they were again tonight. Unfortunately for them, the offense just couldn't get it going. And I've always said I love Jordan Love, but I also question Jordan Love. And you see the give and take that comes with the Jordan Love, right? The good, right? The throw to Christian Watson on that third down when they were pinned deep right before the 2-minute warning. Like, that's a layered throw with a crumbling pocket, perfectly placed. The throw to Josh Jacobs with pressure, falling backwards, which is his thing. He's a drifting backwards guy that can make throws. And that thing was on the money. And again, Josh Jacobs, for whatever reason, looked over the wrong shoulder. I don't know what he was thinking there. And then the bad, right? The miss to Christian Watson on that final possession where he should be leading him towards the sidelines. The fumble in the first half when you've got an opportunity for points and you're trying to do too much and you lose, the football and it's recovered by the Eagles and you lose an opportunity to strike first in this game and get some points on the scoreboard. There were some other misses in this game. Even the fourth down throw to Bo Melton. Again, that's not a terrible throw, right? That's a solid throw that Bo Melton should catch. But he could have also led him away from that defender a little bit more. Ball could have been a little bit higher so Bo Melton doesn't have to fall down. Like all of those things, there were opportunities in this game that were definitely missed by, Jordan Love. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they just didn't make enough plays. They just didn't make enough plays. And one of the things that frustrates me with Jordan Love sometimes is his reluctance to run. Like, he's an athletic guy. Like, he's athletic enough to use his legs to have them be more of a factor in games. With a 4-man rush that was really, pressuring you, there were times I thought, hey, just get out of there, dude. Get out of there. Get 4 or 5, right? Instead of forcing it, it's now it's 3rd and 10. You could have made it 3rd and 6. You could have made it 3rd and 5. Get out of there, dude, right? And so that's another thing that sometimes really baffles me with him is his reluctance to take off and use his legs sometimes. But ultimately, you're down a number of receivers. You're down your best tight end. And, you got to try to find a way to get it done. And they just weren't able to do it. And again, you got to credit that Eagles defense. Like, it's not like guys were dropping passes and, Love was missing open targets. They had to work for everything they got tonight, and they just didn't get enough done. And with the way they play offense right now, I'm not sure that you can beat, like, I don't think you can beat a Seattle. I don't think you can beat a Rams team right now. I'm not even sure you can beat Detroit, but that's family business, so that's a little bit different. You clearly can beat Philadelphia. Like, you went toe-to-toe with them tonight, and obviously the first game after losing probably your best target right now, not having Matthew Golden in the lineup, which is another guy that can stretch the field vertically, and then losing Romeo Doubs didn't help. It seems like every time they play Philadelphia, they're always down 16 receivers and 16 targets, right? That's what happened in the playoff game last year. But you're not going to win many games. You're not going to beat many teams scoring 7 points, scoring 10 points like they've done in these losses this year where they've given up, less than 16 points. You're just not going to, or less than 17. You're just not going to win a lot of games doing that. And so I don't know how big of a threat they are. This is a playoff team. This defense is one of the best, not just in the NFC, in the league. They're a playoff team just off the strength of their defense. They're a playoff team. How far you can go in the postseason with this offense and the inconsistency of it, I'm not sure. At some point, I believe they get Jaden Reed back this season. That'll help a lot, right? But I've seen this offense all year just be inconsistent, and I'm not sure how far you can actually go with your offense playing the way that it's played this season. So, big win for Philadelphia. Man, this was a fun game to watch. And I really think, truth be told, I told you this. I think Philadelphia is better than Detroit. I expect Philadelphia to beat Detroit next week because I don't respect Detroit's defense. I think Detroit's defense is a wet napkin. So I think Philadelphia's offense is going to play really well against Detroit's defense. Now, I do expect Detroit's offense to be able to move the football. Josh Jacobs had a really good game on the ground, and I think Detroit's ground game is really going to be a problem for the Eagles next week, and that's going to set up play action fake and some opportunities over the middle of the field where Jared Goff is very dangerous. So I do think that Detroit's offense will be problematic for Philadelphia's defense next week. But I think Philadelphia's offense will be more problematic for Detroit's defense than Detroit's offense will be for Philadelphia's defense. And hence, I think Philadelphia is going to beat Detroit next week. This was the team. If somebody in the NFC North was going to stop the Eagles from sweeping that division, this was the team right here, Green Bay. Their final road game against an NFC North opponent. They got the Lions at home next week on a Sunday night. They're going to win that game, I believe. And then they're going to beat the Bears on Black Friday. And so I think they're going to sweep this entire NFC North division, or the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a big win for Philadelphia because the schedule is going to be this is to me the second toughest stretch of their schedule, right? Come off the bye, at Green Bay, home for Detroit, at Dallas, home for Chicago, and then the Chargers after that on the road for the Chargers. So that little 5-game stretch starts off with the win, and I think they're going to win next week. They're going to beat Dallas, I think, too. So all of a sudden now, which could have been a downturn for them, you lose this game, you could easily lose next week. And then, they're going to Dallas. We'll see what the Cowboys look like with Quinnen Williams and, some of the moves that they've made. We know that offense is good enough to score on anyone, and it's family business. No telling what's going to happen in that Dallas game, but this is a really good win for the Philadelphia Eagles, a really big win on the road. So let's get to the skill game. Then we'll come back on the other side, get to the comment section, and see what you guys have to say about this game. Eagles improved to 7-2 on the season, and the Packers dropped to 5-3-1. Let's get to the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper. Come back on the other side.
The skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, so Sleeper is a fantasy sports real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through gaming and sports. I've talked about Sleeper a ton and how I just love this app, love what it is brought to my sports watching experience, and you can have it do the same for you. All you have to do is click the link in my description, which will take you to where you can download the app. There, you will be able to recoup $20, no strings attached, to use on the app. Once you first make sure Sleeper is available in your area. It's available in over 25 states in the U.S. And then make sure you verify you are who you say you are. And once you do that, they're going to give you $20 for you just being you and becoming a part of the Sleeper family. And then on top of that, I advise you to use my promo code LTN, which will get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. That's right, a dollar for dollar match. And since you can only use it once, max it out at $100 so they can match that $100, give you an additional $100. That's $220 for you to spend on this app. And as you know, it doesn't take much to win much. So let's take a look at what we did tonight. Another loser for the kid. So I put together these gyms, and I don't know what I did to the betting gods. I don't know what I did. What did I do? What did I do? I would love an answer, right? So I put together this beautiful NBA ticket tonight. Royce O'Neal, 9.5 more. De'Aaron Fox, 19.5 more. Josh the Smith from Maryland, right? With the damn goggles. Jalen Smith, 9.5, took the more. Donovan Mitchell, he was bullshitting me. Game went to overtime. He was stuck at 25. I'm like, come on, Donovan, man. Stall him out, man. Stall me out, bro. He hit a 3 in overtime. Like the last shot in overtime for the Cavs to get the more. I said Giannis on a back-to-back will not have a double-double. This is beautiful shit, man. And then Colin Gillespie pisses all over my ticket. Dirty bastard. That was good for 620. That didn't come to fruition. I had this ticket that I did with you guys that just never got off the ground because, again, for the second time in 3 primetime games this week, you're not going to hit if there's no offense, right? Unless you stayed away from touchdowns altogether. But even still, you need some shit to go down. I had Romeo Dubs for an anytime touchdown. There were no Green Bay touchdowns other than the 1 touchdown by Josh Jacobs. Luke Musgrave got off to a fast start, couldn't get the 4th catch. A.J. Brown, I told you I picked the wrong receiver. I said either A.J. is going to get off or it's going to be Devontae. It was Devontae. So I picked the wrong receiver. McManus for 2 field goals. He never even kicked one, right? Except for the one at the end. So that didn't come to fruition. I said Parsons wouldn't get a sack. He didn't. And I said Watson would go over the 41.5 yards. He had 45. So that never, but then I was smart. I said, I don't feel good about that ticket. So what did I do? I had a backup ticket in my back pocket. And look at this gem, right? Dallas Goedert, 32.5 yards. Hit that. Josh Jacobs, 72.5 rush yards. He hit that, 74. Jordan Love, rush yards, 21.5 or 25, 20.5. Hit that with 28. Christian Watson, 26.5 receiving yards. Hit 45. Luke Musgrave, 22.5 yards receiving. He hits 23. And the one thing I needed to hit, Jalen Hurts rush yards. This bum runs every week. This bum runs. The one time I need his stinking ass to run, he doesn't want to run. Of course he doesn't want to run. You stinking bastard. Just my luck. I'm the king of the last leg of the parlay killing the ticket. Nobody is better at that than me. 2 more of them shits tonight. That brings my total to like 20,000 for the season. Anyway, I digress. Look, I had a chance to hit for over 1,000 tonight, just off those 2 tickets alone. 600 for one, 400 for another. I should have $1,000. Last night, I missed out by 1 leg, and that was 1,200. You can win a lot of money. $10 bets. You can win a lot of money. Use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. I'm telling you, you won't be sorry. You can thank me later. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this stream. Let's get back to business and the comment section. That'll do it for the skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, so let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. We start the night off with Marquell Randall. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Marquell writes, as much as I hate Howie Roseman, that boy Jalen Phillips was all over the field tonight, a difference maker. Thank you, Dolphins. Look, I don't hate Howie Roseman. I respect the hell out of him. I know him. I know what he stands for. I know what he's about. He's not going to sit on his hands. When an opportunity presents itself, he's going to pick up the phone. He picked up the phone when Michael Parsons was available. And just because Jerry knows how aggressive Howie can be, he put a poison pill. I know y'all saw this. He put a poison pill in the trade with the Packers that you can't trade him to Dallas or excuse me, to the Eagles. You can't trade him to the Eagles. And if you do trade him to the Eagles, we get another first-round pick from you. So that's more of a respect to Howie Roseman and his dedication to making sure he puts his team in the best position to succeed. Howie's going to leave no stone unturned. He knew this defense wasn't good enough. He knew that. They didn't make one move, really, to acquire any offensive help. They traded for Tank Bigsby, which Jacksonville was giving him away to add him to the mix. But a lot of the moves that they've made have been on the defensive side of football. They knew they couldn't get by with Keely Ringo at corner. They knew that they needed to upgrade the defensive line. For as good as Jalen Hunt has been this season, and he's been really good this season, right? And Nolan Smith has been out, and he's back now, and he made a difference tonight too. They still don't have enough. They still don't have what they had last year. They can't recreate that, but what they can do is add to the mix. And that's what Jalen Phillips does. He adds to that mix. And you saw his value tonight. And all it cost them was a third-round pick. They got 16 of them. They got 16 third-rounders. He ain't hurting. He said, yeah, I'll slide you this 3. You good. So that's a big move, but that's what we've come accustomed to from Howie Roseman, right? Elf Life, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Elf Life writes, my goodness, I won $1,000. I'm going to cry. Lou betting life is for me 1,600 the last 48 hours. Jordan Love came in clutch with that 20th completion. Yeah, man. Look, I'm trying to put y'all on. Everybody's winning but me. But I'm so happy for y'all, man. Keep it going. You got 6. You hot right now. You on the dice table. The dice are hot, bro. Don't stop. But make sure you don't give it all back. Put most of it away. You won 1,600. Put 14 away. Put 15 away. And bet the other 100, bro. That's what smart dudes do. Don't give it all back. You hot right now, though. Don't leave the table, though. You hot. Just put away the vast majority of it. Put 90% of it away. And use the rest to try to make some more money. You hot right now, Elf Life. Don't put them dice down. You hot, boy. Keep killing them. I love it. Hell yeah. Shadow Striker. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, sup? Sup, Shadow Striker. $75 into 3K. Man, come on, man. It's raining money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. What I tell y'all, man? Go get this money. Stop playing. They giving it away. 3 Luke Musgrave catches. Smitty 50 yards. Hurts 170. Jacobs 16 rush attempts. Watson 43 and a half yards more, and Love under 235. I was dead, then Smitty big touchdown, Watson big catch, and Luke had final catch. It be like that sometimes, man. It be like that, man. You pressed all the right buttons. I can't never find that last button. I do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't never hit that last. Do. But you did, though. You was over there sweating that Luke Musgrave catch on that final possession for Green Bay, boy. You was sweating over there. Then Luke had the little 8-yard game. Like, yeah! I love it. I love it. Hell yeah. Way to press all them buttons, man. I love it. I'm so excited for y'all, man. I'm so excited. Markwell Randall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, this game was painful watching 2 good defenses making great plays, and then I have to watch our defense. Absolutely painful. But it's a necessary evil, bruh. This is why you need to watch other teams play. The fans that don't watch anybody but the Commanders don't understand what it's really supposed to look like. They just know the defense ain't good. No, you need to see why the defense ain't good. You see them linebackers tonight flying around for Green Bay? You see the punch out on Jalen Hurts? You think one of our defenders would even think about trying to punch that ball out as he's going to the ground? You know what one of our dumb defenders is going to do? Try to lay a shoulder into him. Ooh, I got him. Help him go get an extra yard or a half yard, right? They ain't thinking about punching the ball out. That was sheer genius. He's going down. Let me just take a shot at this thing, man. If I miss, so what? He already got the first down. So let me just take a shot at this football. Bop. That's what good defenses do, bro. Like, you got to be built different. All right, we just don't have it. They're secondary, both secondaries flying around. making plays. There's a play on Dallas Goedert where he's running I want to say like a deep over route. Might have been either over route or it looked more like a dig, but it was over the middle of the field. And it's not a bad ball from Hurts. And the corner is beat. And he just makes a hell of a play. It was Keyshawn Nixon. Makes a hell of a play and then dives and tries to pick the shit. Gets his hands on it. And I'm like, ooh, that's nice. I wish we had a guy that could do that. We got one. He just broke it. He just fractured his fibula. We got one dude that can do something like that. He's done for the season. It's a tough watch knowing that we're nowhere even remotely close to building a defense that can do the things that we saw these two teams do. But you need to see what a real defense looks like. So you know what this team needs. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Shadow Striker writes, best bro is a Packers fan. Wants Matt LaFleur's head on a stick right now. Why? I think Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. The offense is struggling, but I've always blamed their struggles on a myriad of things. Right now, and I've always felt this way, they don't have a real number one wide receiver. You want to know the difference between this Packers offense and the Rams offense? Because it's really a lot of the concepts are the same. They run a very similar offense because Matt LaFleur came from Sean McVay, and all of them come from the same tree, right? From that Shanahan, tree, basically. You know what the biggest difference is? Well, two differences. Matthew Stafford is the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, and Jordan Love is not on that level. That's one. But more importantly, because Love can get it done, the Rams have Puka Nacua, and the Packers have who exactly? Dontavian Wicks? I love Christian Watson, but he's more of a vertical threat. I don't see him working underneath. He doesn't catch the football in volume the way Puka Nacua. You can go to Puka Nacua on 3rd and 7, and he's going to out-muscle the corner for the football and get the first down. I saw him do it yesterday on a critical 3rd and 7. That's the difference. They got a real number one, and you don't. Or not you. The Packers don't. And they haven't had a number one receiver since Devontae Adams left. Since they traded Devontae Adams. They haven't had a number one receiver. That's the biggest issue. That's the biggest difference I see. And so let me keep reading. Let me see how many times did you see a run pass sequence tonight? So predictable. I didn't hate the run pass though. Because Josh Jacobs was having a solid night. They were, you know what you want to be against a team like Philadelphia? You want to be in 3rd and manageable. And you know what they were when they went run pass? 3rd and manageable. You should be able to convert 3rd and 3. You should be able to convert 3rd and 4. And a lot of times, those were very manageable 3rd downs. And what happened? Jordan Love, inaccurate. Jordan Love, ball batted at the line of scrimmage by Jalen Carter. 2 3rd downs were batted down where I think he had open receivers that would have converted the first down for him, but he got batted down at the line of scrimmage. I get it. You think it's predictable run pass, but they weren't losing yards on these runs. They were gaining yards. They were good 4-yard gains on first down, another 3-yard gain and it's 3rd and 3. So I get it. You don't love, that run pass, because eventually it's going to set up a shot available, shot opportunity down the field. And they did have some shot opportunities. They just didn't hit them. So he says, NFC champ this year is neither of these two teams. It's Seattle or Detroit. Another game of Hurts sub 50 at halftime. I can't say that about Philadelphia. I think that probably is the case with Green Bay. I can't say that about the Eagles, that they won't be there when it's all said and done. Till somebody knocks them off, they are the champs. And I don't know if you've been watching, but they find ways to win these types of games. So till somebody knocks them off, I still got to look at them and respect them for what they are. And that's the Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champions. And I bet you everybody thought Detroit was going to be that team last year. What happened to them? I don't respect Detroit the way that you do, Shadow Striker. I'm going to be honest with you. We moved the ball with ease on that defense yesterday. I think Philadelphia can do the same thing. I really think they can do the same thing. So we'll see. Seattle, I think the NFC West is the biggest threat to Philadelphia. And when the 49ers get healthy, I don't know if they got enough defensively with all the injuries that they've incurred defensively, but when they get healthy offensively, you might be able to throw the 49ers in that mix. But right now, Seattle and the Rams seem like the biggest threat to the Eagles. I think they're going to sweep this entire NFC North division. The Eagles are. You think Seattle you think Detroit is a problem? You'll get to see them against this Eagles team next week. We'll see if they're a problem or not. Marquell Randall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Marquell writes, I want this in our future defense, young and hungry. Again, these are defensive goals. Like Green Bay's defense, and the beauty of Green Bay. Carrington Valentine is probably an undrafted corner. I know Keyshawn Nixon is an undrafted corner. He came into the league as a special teams return man for them that worked his ass off and worked until he got the opportunity to become a corner. And now you've got two guys outside playing their asses off. That's called developing talent. And maybe Valentine is a 5th round pick that I didn't know he's a 5th round pick. I don't know. I can tell you this. You ain't talking about a day 1 or day 2 pick in Carrington Valentine or Valentine, excuse me. And you ain't talking about, and I know Keyshawn Nixon is undrafted. Their secondary, the safety Williams, where the hell did he come from? Got to be a day 3 pick if he's a pick at all. First round linebacker, first round defensive tackle in Devontae Wyatt, first round edge rusher in Rashawn Gary. Lucas Van Ness, never liked the pick. Think he's a bust. He's not even on the field half the damn time anymore. I don't know if he's injured or what. Never liked the pick to begin with. But I didn't like the Rashawn Gary pick. So, again, that didn't mean anything that I didn't like the pick. But what I'm telling you is they've invested in that defense, but then they found some hidden gems along the way. Mike, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mike says, a win is a win. One more, you missed it. A win is a win is a win in the National Football League. You damn right it is, Mike. You damn right it is. And ain't no remorse for a 10-7 win. Ain't no give backs, ain't no receipts. Hey, look, like when you go to the Nike clearance outlet, the first thing they tell you when you checking out at the counter before they even ring up your first item, hey, just want to let you know all sales are final. All finals are final, okay? 10-7, we win. Get the hell out of Lambeau with a dub. That's all that matters. Put that brick in the left-hand column. I told you, we'll turn those bricks over a month from now. We ain't going to turn over the Green Bay brick and look at it and say, oh, that was 10-7. You got lucky. We just going to see a dub on the side of the Green Bay brick and just say 1 and count that as one of the wins, right? 1, 2. We ain't turning over the brick to see the details. 3 weeks from now, we ain't going to give a shit that this was a 10-7 game. You beat Green Bay. That's all we're going to talk about. You damn right a win is a win is a win in the National Football League. You damn right. Mills, 36. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mills writes, you think the brother Joe Witt will be a scapegoat? He's already the scapegoat. What do you mean? This is gonna determine if he truly was the problem or not, right? DQ with less talent. He just lost another starting corner. A week after losing one starting corner for the season, he just lost the other starting corner for the season, right? You're already decimated on the defensive line. Your linebackers have been meh this season. DQ is attempting to take that same defense that Joe Witt Jr. had looking like the worst in football. And it's even worse now because you just lost Trey Amos, the one guy that was really good in the secondary. You just lost him for the rest of the season. So DQ is going to attempt to take that same defense with less talent now and make them look better than they looked the last month, which is horrible. Against Dallas, horrible in the second half against Kansas City. And honestly, they look horrible against Kansas City for the entire game. They only just forced 2 turnovers. That's what stopped Kansas City from putting up 40 like everybody else. And then obviously couldn't stop Seattle. Made Sam Darnold look like John Elway, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning all rolled into one in that first half. And then obviously didn't force a single punt last week. You damn right Joe Witt Jr. is the scapegoat, especially if DQ makes this defense look better. Especially if they look better in this other. Then everybody will say, see, Joe Witt was the problem. You damn right he'll be the scapegoat. Now, if DQ comes in here, which is what I expect, and this defense still looks like hot ass, then your boy will be looked at maybe a little bit differently from the people that want to go back in and protect him. But the damage is done. Joe Witt Jr. is clearly the scapegoat right now. And we'll find out if he was truly the problem or not. DQ's taking over now. If the defense looks different, Joe Witt was the problem. If the defense doesn't look any different, we could blame it on the talent, but it's the same results. So we'll see what happens. Mills 36, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Mills 36 writes, why don't Washington use wide receiver Lane enough and run the ball? Well, Lane has dropped the football quite a bit this season. I would tell you, I would like to see him get the football in some, the same way they use Debo in those jet sweep situations, wide receiver screens, things like that, where you could just get him the football and get him going up the field and let him use his speed. But he's dropped the football quite a bit this season, has Jalen Lane. So hard to argue with him being more involved where he hasn't taken full advantage of the opportunities that he's been given. That said, you got to talk to Cliff Kingsbury about not running the ball more. I've advocated for them to run the football more as well. And it just hasn't happened. I thought they would run it more against Detroit. They had a lot of success against Detroit running the football. And Cliff, I didn't think he didn't run it enough. But again, that didn't hinder the offense. The offense moved the ball pretty good against Detroit. And they just couldn't get any defensive stops. So there are other games where I felt like they could have run the ball more and had more success. But ultimately, what we got to make sure we understand is we're not built to be a dominant rush offense. Our offensive line isn't built to be knocking dudes off the ball and creating tons of space in the run game. That's not our offensive line. But can our offensive line be serviceable, and can it, create enough rush lanes to keep the offense balanced? Sure. And can Cliff be a little bit more balanced with his play calling? Absolutely. Sure he can. And I don't think he has been necessarily, but look, we signed up for Cliff. We have to take all that Cliff entails, all that he brings to the table. We don't always love it, but this is who Cliff is. And so you got to deal with the inconsistent nature of him not running the football enough sometimes. So there's that. Anyhow, I digress. That was the last super chat. So we're going to go ahead and bounce and get out of here. Big win for the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night, 10-7. This is what championship football is all about. Finding ways to win. And the best teams in the league find a way to win. We've seen this season, it ain't always pretty with Philadelphia. Last year, we said the same thing about the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, they're so lucky. Oh, my God. This, that, and the third. But you know what they kept doing? All the while, people were bitching and complaining and calling them lucky. They kept stacking up bricks in that left-hand column. Just kept stacking them up. You can keep talking all this shit you want. We're going to get this #1 seed. We're going to get this, clear path to the Super Bowl where we don't have to win 3 games. We just got to win 2. And you got to come through our neck of the woods, through Arrowhead if you want to get it done. We're just going to keep stacking up these bricks and make sure you got to come through us to get where you want to go. And right now, Philadelphia is quietly. Everybody want to talk about Seattle and the Rams and all the sexy teams. Shh, quiet as kept. This Eagles team is 7-2, just like them. Just like they are, 7-2. And they've beaten the Rams, even though we know the Rams dominated that game. But quiet as kept. It hasn't been pretty, and which is why I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. But Eagles are 7-2. Eagles are 7-2. So they lost the game that they dominated and probably should have won against Denver, and they won a game that they got dominated in and probably should have lost against the Rams. So it all equals out when it's all said and done. This shit all equals out. And then they got thoroughly dominated by the Giants. And they've already avenged that loss. So maybe you should be looking out for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm pretty sure they're comfortable just riding under this little radar that people got them on. They're like, okay, cool. Don't talk about us. Talk about the Colts and what they're doing. Talk about the Seahawks and what Sam Darnold. Who the hell thinks Sam Darnold is going to play well in the postseason? Raise your damn hand. Like, this Seahawks shit kills me because I'm like, we saw him do this before with the same kind of defense last year. And then it got to the end of the season when the shit mattered. What did he do? Then he got in the playoffs, and what did he do? So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still looking at Philadelphia, and I'm saying, look out for the Eagles. I still got questions about their defense. Clearly, we have questions about their offense. But the combination of the two together, if the defense is improved, which I think it's going to be with all the guys that they've gotten back from injury and the acquisitions that they've made, I expect the defense to be better. You couple that with an offense that's capable. It's inconsistent, but it's capable. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, for Green Bay, you're 5-3-1. And all 3 of your losses have come when you've scored, your opponent has scored 16 points or less. You got some real self-reflecting to do offensively if you're the Green Bay Packers. Because there's no excuse for you to be 5-3-1 right now with losses to the likes of Carolina, Cleveland, and now Philadelphia. Not that Philadelphia is in that same category, but they scored 10 points tonight. Like, there's just no excuse for that. This defense deserves better. This defense deserves better. But anyhow, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Monday Night Football Overtime. Eagles get the win, extend their lead in the NFC East. This thing is already over basically in the division. And now at 7-2, they got their eyes on the #1 seed in the NFC. And they're up there swimming around with the big dogs like they always are. And this was a big one on the road. Got another big one next week at home against Detroit. But this was the one. If they were going to lose one, this felt like the one. They got it done. I think they got a chance to sweep the whole NFC North. We'll see what happens. But I'll see you guys next time. Take care. God bless. Good night. Peace.